Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Please give us a few minutes for us to admit others, then we can start. In about 2 to 3 more minutes, we can keep the webinar rolling. Thank you for joining early. Good morning again, everyone, and thank you for joining us to this Paygilant webinar. My name is Amaka Obasi. I am the Channel Manager for Data Group IT West Africa. With me on this call is Sarah, who is the Regional Manager for Africa for Paygilant. Sarah will be taking us through the Paygilant solution overview and how you as our valued resellers can pitch Paygilant to your customers. With no further ado, I'll take a deep dive into an overview of Data Group IT solution portfolio. Also, we have the Q&A chat box. At every point of the presentation, please feel free to put your questions in the chat box. You could put your questions in English or in French. My colleague Zila is on standby to respond to your questions in French. Welcome once again. As you all know, Data Group IT is a value-added cybersecurity distributor across Africa. And we have followed you through all the way in partnership through your cybersecurity transformation journey. How do we do this? We have done that by partnering with the best of the best cybersecurity and fraud vendors like Paygilant to provide secure, scalable, and future-ready solutions that ensures your business growth and resilience. At Data Group IT, we do not just secure technology, we enable your transformation with security at its core. How do we go about that? We have provided an end-to-end cybersecurity framework that we refer to as our reference architecture. This cybersecurity framework illustrates a holistic approach we use at Data Group IT to cybersecurity and fraud detection and solution. We cover all the critical domains across the different enterprise. If you take a look at this reference architecture, you discover that there are about 7 pillars where we play. We have the data security that protects sensitive data with encryption, with backup, with disaster recovery, and database security. We also have the network security. It controls access, detects threats, uses firewall, micro-segmentation, and DDoS mitigation to defend network layers. Next to this here is the application security that secures apps through firewalls, testing, email security, and the DLP, known as the data loss protection. For the user security here, we focus on identity and authentication, endpoint protection to safeguard user access. For cloud security, we implement zero trust, secure access, and posture management for cloud-native environments. Under the mobile security, we enforce control on devices via the unified management, mobile threat defense, and the BYOD policies. Then the last of the pillar, the GRC, known as the governance, risk, and compliance, ensures that cybersecurity aligns with compliance, business risk, and operational efficiency. Because we believe in Data Group IT, that true cyber resilience demands end-to-end visibility and control across all vectors. That is the data, the user, the network, and the cloud. These are reference architecture have brought all together in one unified model. How do we play here with our reference architecture? We have aligned with select vendors to ensure that we bring the full security and fraud package to you. If you look at this slide, it shows how each of our technology partners map directly to the pillars of our cybersecurity reference and architecture. You can see how Paygilant play in the application security, handling the banking protection and runtime risk. It also plays in the mobile and cloud security, managing the in-app fraud prevention and behavioral risk, and also does cloud integrated fraud analytics. I'll allow Sarah, who is an expert in that field, to give us an in-depth explanation to all the solutions that Paygilant has. So as our valued customers, what value does Data Group IT bring to you? We have set ourselves as a value-added distributor, and our vision sets us apart. Data Group IT's vision is to be the most trusted and agile cybersecurity distributor across Africa. We have three differentiators in this field. We have the value-added distribution that differentiates us. And under this, we go beyond reselling. We offer technical expertise to our resellers. We also offer sales enablement, as we are doing here in this webinar. We provide collaboration with our partners to ensure that our customers get value, get the best among the cybersecurity portfolio. We have strategic presence. In my next slide will highlight the countries across Africa where we play. They're embedded early. We work closely with vendors and partners to shape demand, not just respond to it. We are proactive in data group IT and not just reactive. We are agile and trusted, and that's also a differentiating factor that sets us apart from other distributors. We are built for Africa. We are an African playing cybersecurity company. And we have vendors all across 16 countries that we have partnered with to distribute cybersecurity solutions to the end users through you, our valued partners. A look at this slide shows the countries where we play in Africa. We are not just active in Africa, we are embedded across the continent. We have local presence, partnership, and capability. We operate in over 16 African countries, and this includes Ghana, Ivory Coast, South Africa, Nigeria, and Morocco. Our footprint reflects a pan-African strategy which ensures proximity to customers, regional support, and deep market understanding. We have physical presence in most of these countries with our colleagues in the sales and the pre-sales arm of the business, supporting you all the way. This is an overview of some of the partners, of some of the vendors we have partnered with. And so today, we are talking about Paygilant. We understand that fraud is a major issue with our end user. And with that, we have partnered with Paygilant to set the pace in providing fraud solutions that our end users will really need. So that's about it on my end. Thank you so much. If you have any questions on Data Group IT, please put a message on the chat, the Q&A chat box, and we'll respond to you. And I hand over to Sarah to wow us with all Paygilant has to offer. Sarah, over to you, please.
Thank you, Amaka. Good morning, everybody. Let me just quickly share my screen. Everybody can share my screen, right? Can see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Amaka, if for any reason there's network issues, let me know. I'll keep my camera open for a bit for the presentation. So, hi, I'm Sara Pinheiro. I'm Portuguese by origin, but I'm based in Nigeria, in Lagos, for the last almost 10 years. It's a pleasure and an honor for me to be here today to present you an amazing solution, actually. So Amaka was presenting and guiding us through a lot of insights on cybersecurity space. But one thing that I wanted to point out is that cybersecurity products and companies focus a lot on protecting your company, mostly of threats, but the core of your company. When you look at the solution of Paygilant, what you are doing for your customers is protecting them only alone from external threats, from external fraudsters. So basically, what you do with Paygilant and when you sell it to your customers, you position it in a way that they have a solution to protect only and alone their customer base, which is something, again, different, and you can position it different from the rest of your cybersecurity solutions. So Paygilant was incorporated in 2015, and it's an enterprise frictionless fraud management for banks and payments providers. So you cannot pitch it only to banks. You can pitch it to digital wallets, to telecommunication companies, to fintechs, to crypto wallets. So basically anybody that does and deals with online transfers. So we came to Africa last year, and we've been extremely successful on penetrating the markets. You can see some of our customers in existence already, especially in West Africa, which is where I'm based. So obviously that helps a lot with the communication with the customers and supporting our partners. We are fully channel oriented, and we work with Data Group IT. They are our solo and single distributor across the whole continent of Africa. So Paygilant has embedded AI and machine learning in the solution. That's why Amaka said I'm going to wow you guys today, because we will see how Paygilant does its magic with the so-called artificial intelligence. Paygilant has been appointed by MasterCard as the solo fraud solution for their fintechs in their marketplace. We have won several awards, and namely one of them was this year due to our easy and fast integration in the market. So Paygilant has a time frame of implementation of 2 months, which compared to many of our other solutions that are competing with us, it's a relatively short period of time. Fraud solutions, because they are highly dependent on the customer side, normally can take from 1 to 3 years, even 5 years to be fully deployed. That's not the case with Paygilant. Even we had an example of a major tier 1 bank in Nigeria that we managed to do a full deployment in 2 weeks. So if that's not exciting for you as our partners, I don't know what can excite you more. So the ROI of this solution is quite fast. Okay, so over 1.7 billion individuals have had their personal data compromised just in 2024. Obviously, it gets worse year by year. So you can see that it's marking a staggering 312% of increase from 2023. And obviously, the areas of major incidents are always the emerging markets that cause in Latin America and Africa. So fraud is on the rise, and if your customers are not fully equipped, it's actually pretty easy for the bad guys to compromise the credit cards of your customers, compromise credentials, data breaches, invite crime, and obviously organized and funded crime using FAS. So what happens here is obviously using just internal tools to protect your customers' environment is no longer enough. Outsider threats are growing every day, and the fraudsters are getting more and more sophisticated and complex, right? So what happens here with Paygilant is that we simplify the user's experience. Why we call our software frictionless, because once it is acquired by your customer, so a bank, let's say it for example, the final user, the end user, right, the user of that bank will not feel anything that has changed on the usage of the bank services. So Paygilant is an invisible shield that runs on the web channel or mobile channel or USSD channel, because Paygilant is actually an omni-channel solution. We protect any channel that the bank or fintech or whatever your customer is and the size, and we do protection through all customers. Okay, so today's fraudsters are 80% of the hackers are leverage crime rings, so they are getting global reach. And what is amazing about Paygilant, and that's why I like to say it's a kind of, it has a bit of magic embedded into it. If a customer of yours acquires Paygilant, and let's assume they blacklist a full gang of fraudsters, let's say 500 devices, I want you to understand that they are feeding Paygilant database. What does that mean? It means that any bank that has bought prior to that blacklisting action and after will be fully protected. So Paygilant works on a global reach and on a global scale. So you can imagine in the world, if everybody will just acquire Paygilant, how hard it will be for these fraudulent gangs to actually keep up and manage to attack your customers. Okay? So in 2024, deepfake attacks happen every 5 minutes, making up to 40% of all biometric fraud. So in Paygilant, we actually have embedded in our solution the AI, which allows us to leverage the customer's behaviors against what would a fraudster do. What does that mean? We just don't look at very minimal ways of recognizing a legitimate user. Okay, what Paygilant does is to turn your customer's environment unbreachable by 99.9999%. Because if you have a customer's profile and behavior, not just the profile, which are what legacy solutions currently do, but the way he behaves, the way he holds the phone, the way he looks at the phone, how he uses the phone, that will be for sure a unique behavior in the whole world, right? No, but none of us can replicate behaviors of usage of a device from one to another. Okay, so this is why the Paygilant is different and stands out, and why we are very successful in penetrating the markets. So here you can see some of the use cases that actually are more common. Paygilant offers over 3,000 combinations of rules and policies to protect your customers against fraud. So we can name here some of them. New account fraud. Some banks don't have any way to correlate information within the device where the person is logging in or the credentials that I'm using. Account takeover, here we are talking about behavioral aspects. If somebody is selling on the deep web credentials, my credentials like Sarah, and somebody will log in, not normally, most of times, people, the bank app will just accept the credentials, and the person will be able to log in and do the transactions. Transaction and APP fraud, synthetic identity fraud. We're talking about bots, simulators. Again, a lot of fraudsters are becoming more and more sophisticated on the way that they are compromising and attacking banks' environments. So Paygilant can detect if it's a real person or not. Employee fraud and SIM swap and clone fraud. Okay. So fighting these frauds, this and future types of attacks requires a layered AI fraud prevention approach, which you can find it again in Paygilant. Okay, global intelligence and collaboration, like I mentioned before, all banks will be actually feeding Paygilant database, meaning that every bank will be protected against specific fraudulent devices, fraudulent groups, specific synthetic entities, bots. So it's just one solution that connects in a global way. So our multi-intelligent sets approach sends fraudsters elsewhere, because it becomes, of course, we cannot say it's 100% reliable, because everything that is man-made. There's always a human component to it, but 99.9999% of the times, Paygilant will do the job. Also, I just wanted to point it out in terms of false positives, which is something your customers will ask a lot, because that's where they are bleeding and also not making profit out of it, because banks make profit out of taxes and fees. Paygilant has the lowest rate of false positives in the market currently, which is 0.0001%, which means your customers will be able to do much more transactions and much more transfers that before were prevented and stopped by legacy systems, because they do not recognize the user like Paygilant does. Okay, so besides the full system and enterprise solution that we offer, we come with the best practices and fraud expertise, meaning that for each customer of yours that you bring and we close deal with, we assign a dedicated fraud analyst. So we will present to you, to your customer, reports. We will tell you where the fraud is more susceptible of happening. So Paygilant acts in a preventive and detection way. So having this analyst is like having somebody part of your team. He will be, or she, responsible for alerting your customer of potential areas where are not so robust and that they need to change their processes. This can be setting a new account, can be login area, resetting passwords, transaction, transfers, deposits, requesting for rapid loans. So all of these areas can be seen on our dashboards, and we can make recommendations for your customers to strengthen their systems. Okay, so now let's look at the heart of Paygilant and how the motor works. So here are our elements of the risk analysis. We call it the 6 intelligence sets. So immediately you can see that they are divided in 3 different groups, and they are color coded: green, blue, and gray. So the green one goes to the device that is used. The blue one goes to the user, and the gray one is related to your customer's applications. So the green one, as it's related to the device, let's see one by one. The device DNA is a unique code that is created using data points from the device where your customer is logging in from, and that line of code will be unique to identify your customer's end user. Okay, so I have an iPhone 15 Pro. A lot of people, millions of people have the same. So many fraud solutions identify the phone model, but Paygilant goes beyond that by creating this device DNA that is not replicable, and it's traceable by in any bank in the world that will use Paygilant. Okay, so that's a unique ID, specific designed and generated to a user. This is why the green space we call protection from day one, because immediately your bank customers run an update and they have the application up to date with Paygilant on it, the device DNA and the user space are up and running. Now, what is the user space? User space is all the public information that resides on my devices that Paygilant collects and takes encrypted snapshots. So what is this information? So the Wi-Fi networks that you connect with, the Bluetooth devices you connect with, the number of applications that you have, and what are those applications? What is the memory that those applications take on your phone? Okay, the total number of contacts. Just point I want to reach here to touch here is that Obviously, we don't look at the information that it's inside that resides inside the apps. It's just like the certificates of the applications. So me and Amaka, we work in the same area of business. So obviously we have Teams, we have Outlook, we have social media, but our applications they don't occupy the same memory on the devices, right? And they were for sure not installed on the same day, in the same minute, in the same hour. So these two elements of the risk analysis, it's what provides protection from day one, because you can immediately see that if we start just with these two elements, fraudsters will not even be able to replicate neither the device DNA, neither the user space. Moving forward to the customer's behavior, we have the first one, which is the activity map. So we all have a standard pattern of how we behave while we use our phones, regardless if it's a USSD channel or a web channel or a card or a mobile phone. We all have a pattern, right? Let's take the phone, for example. We wake up. I believe most of us, the first thing we do is to open our phones. We check our calendar. What do we have to do that specific day? Where are our meetings? Who are we seeing? Sorry, I forgot we turn off our alarm, right? That should be the first one. So then after that, we check the news, we check social media. So day after day, there is a pattern that is created. So for us that use iPhone, you know that on every Sunday we receive a report of how many hours our screen was open and the percentage of usage of each application. So again, these are all public information that is on our device, and we set the terms and conditions to share that with Apple, right? So Paygilant has access to these informations as well, which then creates a very unique environment and pattern of behavior for each user that, again, it cannot be replicated. Biomarkers, which is by far one of the most interesting for me. So obviously we all know what biometrics is, which is the fingerprint recognition and the facial recognition, but biomarkers goes beyond that. So what we are talking here is the distance of from my face to the screen. So obviously, if I don't wear glasses, or if I wear glasses, or if I'm 50 plus or 60 years plus, the distance of the phone to the face is different, right? The length of your arms, meaning how far it is, how tall you are, the shape of your face, how fast you walk. So all these biomarkers are collected by Paygilant. So what that does that mean? That means, for example, if someone is trying to compromise your credentials, let's put it that way. I'm pretending to do an account takeover. I bought Amaka's credentials for her bank. I don't know which bank she uses. Let's make an example here. Let's do Zenith Bank. They are our customer already. So I bought her credentials in the deep web, and I'm trying to log in. So the moment I try to log in with Amaka credentials, I'm assigned with the device DNA that is already different. So my login status is already being highly risk monitored. Then my user space doesn't match Amaka. My activity map is not aligned with Amaka's, and biomarkers don't match at all. Do you think that the transaction will go through? Obviously, the answer is no. But one of the great things with Paygilant is that the login, if you have the right credentials, will go through, but will be monitored on a very high risk, showing up for a potential account takeover. Why? Our system is robust enough to allow login to happen, because we want your customers to have access to the location and to information that is available where the fraudster is sitting. Okay? So we can show the right location of individual by three ways: IP address, GPS, and connection to the telecommunication company, which is a report that your customer is going to can then give to the authorities. So Paygilant allows everybody to log in, but doesn't allow you to do transfers. What does that happen and what does that do? Fraudsters will understand that they can log in, right? And they will be trying to log in from many, many different devices because they don't, what they don't understand is why the transfers are not going through. So they will try multiple devices, and your customer in the back end will actually be blocking everybody. And the legitimate user will not even understand that his credentials were compromised because he will just be able to log in. So this enhances customer experience. The trust on your bank, on your customer who is a bank, will improve because, every time our credentials are compromised, emails are sent out, somebody calls, accounts get suspended, cards get suspended. With Paygilant, all we care about is to enhance your customer experience, your customer end user experience, and to maintain the user's experience in terms of your customer side. So they don't lose customers, they don't lose trust, and they can do as many payments and transfers that they can and maximize their profits. Okay. Moving to the gray area, which is gray area sounds weird, but moving to the gray components, we are talking now here about the bank applications. So App Insights has to do with the correlation between the information of my banking details with information on my phone. So if I'm a legitimate user and I'm logging in from my laptop or from my browser, from my phone, obviously there is correlation between my phone number, my email, my address, my home address. And if I'm a legitimate user, obviously the information will match. But if I'm logging in from an unknown device that has absolutely no information about Sarah, again, I will be able to log in as long as I have the right credentials, but I will not be able to perform anything anymore. There was a situation in Africa of a very, very large bank that if they actually were using Paygilant, they wouldn't go to what they've gone, what happened to them, which some customers were stealing credentials and compromising credentials and requesting for quick loans. So now the legitimate users are paying for loans they didn't request for. So you can imagine that if I'm logging in and I have Paygilant embedded in my mobile app, not even mentioning already all the other elements of the risk analysis, but the app insights alone. If I'm requesting a fast loan and no information from my application, from the bank, correlates to the information on my phone, how will that loan be possible to go through? It will not happen, all right? Because Paygilant, besides protecting all the channels available in your customer's environment, we also will protect any type of transactions, okay? That leads us to the last one, to transaction view. So like the activity map, transaction view also is a pattern of transfers and behaviors that we have with our bank channels. So we all have the same merchants and payees that we use every now and then, per day, per month, per week. But what happens if we are adding a new destination, right? If we are sending money to someone new, many times our banks on certain level of transactions, they will request for a second factor of authentication because we are sending it to a new person. And not only, some banks, even just because it's a new destination, they request for authentication immediately, regardless of the amount. So obviously, I believe that you are with me in the presentation. You can understand that if all the other elements of Paygilant, of the risk analysis are aligned, there's no need for authentication or for creating any type of friction on your customer side, because we understand that that person is a legitimate user. Okay. All right, so moving to our architecture and data flow. So we are a cloud-based solution and we run on AWS. So we create a single tenant for each bank. And here on the architecture, you can see on the left side, on the white ones, it's the bank. So every time there is activity coming from the channels, requires an authentication done by the core banking of the bank, which then connects to Paygilant risk engine, right? So customer creates a login and the core banking says, yes, the credentials are correct. Is this login high risk or low risk? Asks to Paygilant. Paygilant responds with a risk score. Then that checkpoint, right, that login, for example, will be monitored as a low risk or a medium risk or as a high risk. So we connect via API, and for mobile and web, we have an addition for the SDK for the 6 intelligence sets to be able to function fully. All right. So here we have our dashboard. So this is just a dashboard that was taken from our demo environment. So here is what I spoke in the beginning. When you provide you a risk analyst from our side, the person is capable of providing your customer a report of where the fraud is more possible to happen and what needs to be done in order to create a more robust system on the bank's checkpoint statuses, meaning transfers, registration, onboarding of customer. So here you can see that it's more likely to happen fraud on the register process, okay, because the bank doesn't have, like, for example, they don't have a good KYC system, or they don't have a KYC system at all. I have seen banks in some countries in Africa that until a certain amount of transactions per year, they do not require for KYC. So if I want to create a fake account or as many fake accounts as I wish, I'm able to and until I reach the threshold that they define. So imagine having a platform where people can transact and you don't know, your customer doesn't know who is using your platform and for what, right? So I also just wanted to mention here that Paygilant integrates with AML and any KYC solutions that might be already in your customers because of the simplicity of our API connections, right? So talking a bit about our implementation, as I mentioned, we can take up to 8 weeks. For implementing. A lot of people ask us, how does it take? How does it absorb the behavior? How does the silent mode work? So because of our policy of protection from day one, our silent mode operation doesn't take long as well. As you can see, it's done from the 5th day till the 8th week. Again, I need to be honest with you because you are our partners. These fraud solutions are always very dependent on the end users. So we always need to be very much on top of what they are doing and make sure that the dedicated teams are available. Okay. So support in Paygilant, we have first level of support and second level of support. We have escalation team and we have also development team in case your customers come with some requirements that we don't have available. Paygilant, though, is not just a platform that is static in terms of rules. We sell a very, very basic, package. And then obviously our developed team and technical team sits with your customers team, and we evaluate and oversee all the processes, and then we design the policies accordingly. All right. So that leads me to the end of my presentation for today. Amaka, do you want to talk a bit about the demo?
Thank you for the amazing presentation, Sarah. Yes, I know we are pressed for time and will not be able to handle the demo now. However, we are partners, we are family. So for our partners, I say those who are interested in having a demo session could reach out to us and then we'll schedule a one-on-one demo session per partner if you're interested in seeing how it works further. There are a few questions on the chat box, Sarah, that may need your attention. I'll just go through and read out. So Nadia says, kindly share the slides and recording after the presentation. So yes, Nadia, we will share it. My colleague Diane will share it with the recording. Jane says, do you have a technical team that can handle the meeting if the customer wants to go deep? Over to you, Sarah. I know the answer, but I want them to hear from you.
Jane, I don't know how deep is that conversation gonna go. So we have our technical team. So our Amaka can attest to that. Even our CEO participates in meetings with customers. The team is based out of Israel. So we have our CTO available. We have our VP of R&D. We have our head of product. Everybody is happy and willing to sell. So yes, we need to evaluate very well what are the customer requirements, and so I can know who to bring to the call. But we do have a team.
Thanks, Sarah. So Jean Basil says, kindly share data sheet in French language if available. Do you have it in French? Your data
I don't,
sheet.
I don't have it. I don't have it in French. I have it in English.
Also, Jane, we could share the English version. If you have any questions, my colleagues Diane can carry out explanations and presentations in French. Jane Kamano asks, do you do POC for customers? If yes, for how long?
Hi again, Jean. So we don't normally fraud solutions don't offer POCs because the POC for a fraud solution, meaning doing the integration and working in a live environment, requires the same amount of effort as if we were going live. Okay, what we offer is a POV. We create a demo environment. We do a workshop with your customer. They say what are the scenarios that they want to see, and we create it for them, and we leave that demo environment available for the customer. What I can add here is that we are agnostic to the technology of the core banking, so it really doesn't matter to Paygilant if it's IBM, Oracle, Finacle. Okay, we are agnostic to the technology because of our API integration. Also, I can tell you that all the banks we have closed so far were very happy with the POV environment that we have created for them. And they are all alive and up and running. And I always say to every new customer that I speak to, all of our customers are very happy to give references. Just to also let you know, the Zenith, which is a tier 1 bank and one of the best 100 banks in the world, the POV sufficed them, and they are a big reference for us across Africa. So for every customer that you guys can bring or are interested in, at some point in time, they always ask for references. So our customers in Nigeria are always very open and happy to do so.
So how long will this POV take if you had to organize one?
So we do a workshop normally of 3 hours with the customer,
Okay.
and then we leave the environment open for around a week.
Okay. Okay. That works. Are there any requirements to set that up?
No, not at all. Everything, a lot of things that we have here are just how can I put it? So in Paygilant, the way we do things is to be easy for the customer. So if a customer is looking for a fraud solution, means that they have an immediate need, right? So if we prolong the time where we keep environments actually open, it's the customer might lose interest or start looking for other solutions. So that's something we like to keep it dedicated and with a short time frame.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. Nicholas is asking the key differentiator between Paygilant and NetGuardian.
There's a lot of differentiators between NetGuardians and Paygilant. So Paygilant is innovative, while NetGuardians belongs to the legacy solutions that I was commenting about. I think that Amaka will share with all the partners our competitive analysis within that we have currently. NetGuardians is someone that it's a company that we have been battling since last year, especially in East Africa. So what I can say here is with Paygilant is more adaptive and it's more elastic in terms of combinations and policies. And we are enterprise and we also work with fintechs. While companies like NetGuardians are more stagnant and strict when it comes to working with different sizes of companies. So also in terms of a few of the risk analysis like identity theft, physical device theft, emulators, bots, NetGuardians doesn't do that while Paygilant does all of it. Okay.
Thanks, Sarah. So, Nicholas still has questions to ask. So it says these are some use cases. Touch on how the solution address this. That's unauthorized access to customer accounts, transaction manipulation, identity theft, synthetic identity abuse, collusion with external parties, data leakage or misuse, loan and credit fraud, abuse of privileges like segregation of duties violations, account takeover support, ATM and card fraud, ghost employee or payroll fraud, incentive or commission fraud. That's a whole session, I guess.
That's a whole session, yes. So I can answer here, Nicholas. What so we normally do with banks? Okay, I understand that these are some of we collect from banks what are the cases that they mostly suffer fraud losses, and then we do a comparison. For example, if you have another solution that they are positioning, we can do comparison with them, or we can say the coverage of Pagilance for each of the items that you mentioned, right? So unauthorized access to customers' accounts, like I mentioned, the customer, if the credentials were compromised, if you use Paygilant, you will be able to log in, but you will not be able ever to transact because the system of Paygilant immediately detects that it's not a legitimate customer. So our system is robust enough to allow you to log in. Why? Because your bank, your customer will be able to localize and block the device and blacklist it, right? Transaction manipulation, I'm not really sure what this one means here, but identity theft or identity theft, abuse, or identity theft, this is covered. Okay, I cannot say 100% because that's not possible in any solution, but it's 99.99. We do have, this is why Amaka was offering for us to do some of the demos on a one-on-one with the partners, so you can actually see how these case scenarios come up. Actually, let me just, Amaka, maybe I can just share here something quickly.
Okay.
If you allow me.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so this is how the back office works. This this is the events, okay? So let me quickly show something here. All right, Nicholas, are you with me? So yesterday we were in an environment of a customer doing a POV, and we were using an emulator. So because this was one of the cases where the customer said they wanted to do, they are suffering a lot of these kind of attacks. So this is how, I hope everybody can see my screen. Let me just zoom in. So you can see that immediately the risk score was 999, which is the highest score in Paygilant. So this was a suspicious device environment. You see the device is on red, a new device in the system, and the emulator was detected. So that's how it's going to go. And this was a registration. So the emulator was able to do the registration. It will be able to do a login, but when we reach transactions, it will never be able to go. I just want to show you. Let me look for a transaction. Okay, this is me. I was doing a transaction today. So you see, I was doing here a money transfer. So let's assume that that was the emulator, right? This will be on 999. The transaction will be on denied, and here we will have denied reasons. I just want to see a denied transaction here. Here we go. Here you can see a transaction, a money transfer, a VPN was detected, okay? And it was a suspected account takeover, and there was multiple devices for the user. So this is something we do in our demo. We try all these different scenarios. I'll make my login. We are all login at the same time, and the system immediately starts detecting that there are multiple people, and then exceed the transaction limit. All right. So imagine now full fraudsters, full gang, all trying to do this at the same time in different points of Africa. It will also show here that there is geospeed warning, meaning that me, I'm in Lagos, but other people are trying to log in from Kenya, and it's not humanly possible to be traveling on that amount of time. So, I mean, you have a lot of other cases here. I mean, I'm being happy for us to sit and maybe we can go through them and explain more in the deep level, because I think we are on top of the hour. Nadia had another request here, what training we provide. So Paygilant, we still don't have a partner portal for the moment. So every training session is organized between Amaka and Paygilant, right?
Okay, so I see you responded to the training question that Nadia asked. So she also asked for certification. Is it available?
I just want to share like a last thing here.
Okay.
Which is a map. Okay. So here, for example, you can be seeing where our colleagues are coming in, or what are they doing. So here we were doing a training with the GIT pre-sales team, and you can see that they were logging in from different. Remember, Amaka, we were doing this training last week. So we still have here you can see I am the green one, which I'm the legitimate user, and everybody, all the reds you can see was the DGIT team trying to make an account takeover of and compromising my credentials. So this is what I was saying before. The location is pretty much accurate. Let me see, Amak, if your office is here. Where is your office? Is this one? Is this at Tokumbo Ademo Street? You are muted.
Adiola Odeku.
Okay, then here. So here is where the GIT office is. You can see the location is pretty much accurate, and there was a money transfer that they tried to do. So these are all reports that can be then extracted and delivered to the authorities. Okay.
Okay, thank
So
you.
Amaka, I think we reached our limit here.
Yeah, but I need to answer a few more questions. So Nadia
Okay.
asked if you have certifications as well to the training. I doubt it. Do you want to answer that?
I answered to that. I said for
Okay.
organizing trainings, he needs to go through the GIT with us. Yes, we don't have as for now.
Okay. Thank you. Then Nicholas says he wants to do a demo next week. He has more questions. I want to understand more about the AI integration to either an open source LLM or data lake. So this will be perfect to have a separate session with you, Nicholas, to address these concerns. When are you available next week, Sarah, for us to schedule this? Or should we take it offline and I'll reach
Yeah,
out
we
to
can take it.
Nicholas?
We can take it offline. Yeah.
I'll reach out to you, Nicholas, and then we'll schedule a date next week for the demo. Thanks, everybody. I don't know if you have further questions, but we do appreciate that you made out time today to join us. And I do hope that this session has been insightful. You could reach out to me directly via phone call or email. Um, I'm just a chat or a phone call away or an email away to respond to all your concerns, especially if you want further information or you want a demo session with Paygilant team, please go ahead and reach out to me. I'm sending my email and phone number again to the chat. That's about it from my end. Any other words, Sarah?
No, not
Thank you
from me.
again,
Thank you.
everyone. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Diane, for the back end support to make this webinar happen. Thank you, everybody, for connecting. We do appreciate your presence. Looking forward to doing Paygilant business with you. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.